Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. questions. Huh?
It's too high.
It's too high. It's okay for now. Maybe. It's cold. We're having almost a proper winter.
Yeah, it's
Huh?
It was 12 or something in the morning.
I look, the ones in Canada must be laughing. You call this a proper winter?
She must be laughing. Yeah, you must be laughing. Yeah.
It's -10 in Quebec.
Now we're feeling warm.
Should sense that those houses are heated and hot water doesn't get. So, I mean, the
She's
homes
saying
are
that,
heated.
okay, so the competition is on.
No, it's not. It's cold, but.
It's better to compete for who's better off than worse off. How's the remaining open going? Going well? Light and easy? No? If the only two options were either to remain open or to suffer, what would you pick? Yes? That's it. So let's put it another way. If the two options were to remain open or to conclude something, you see, what would you pick? Is that a conclusion? then what is left? Not even the conclusion of remaining open, not even the idea that I am open or closed. Because even that is a conclusion. So as long as it's needed as a provisional truth or a reminder or a pointer, as it is called, it's fine. But even that cannot become a position. So what is left?
Well, the question is, do we have a choice to be open?
Do we have a choice to be open?
Is there a choice? What if consciousness feels that I have to suffer something?
Yeah.
Then, because you're open, but suddenly something happens and you suffer. But after some time, you sort of...
So consciousness has a urge to feel some suffering, and then it makes you suffer.
Later you realize you're not the one who's suffering, but...
So,
because
what is your reference point in this? And what do you become? So consciousness is choosing to suffer, and poor little me is the one who has to bear the brunt of it, or what is the...
You realize you don't, but you need to push yourself away from it. And there is...
But if consciousness is choosing to suffer, how you will push yourself?
That is it.
There is a distinction we are making there, is it? There's a consciousness and me, God and me. And that relationship then can become like this. Why are you doing this to me? Poor little me. I have no choice in the matter. It's just like that. This invented me obviously cannot have a choice in the matter because it's invented. You see. The dog that is not sitting over there, how many push-ups can it do? You see? The beautiful thing about openness is that the truth of who you are is also apparent to you. You see? Bhagavan said very beautiful, I saw a quote, maybe Amaya posted it or somebody posted it. He said, the point of self-inquiry is to see that the self cannot be seen. Fantastic. You see? You see that as the mind, it's a very silly endeavor then. It's like the point of self-inquiry is to find or to see that the self cannot be seen. If I'm not going to see the self, then what's the point of self-inquiry? You seem like it's saying it's pointless to do self-inquiry because you can never see the self. That is the mind's interpretation of this. You see. But he said, it is the very point that it cannot be seen. You see. And yet, it cannot be, I'm paraphrasing on top just to prod you, and yet can you deny it? So, in your openness, in your emptiness, which is emptiness of mind, emptiness of intellect, empty of positions. You see? You find this unseen, and it is so apparent. And you also see that it cannot be lost. So what don't you see right now? Let's look at that way. What don't you see?
Is that about what don't you see about what you spoke?
No, just generally, what don't you see? Go for it, don't worry. It's not right or wrong or difficult.
Don't see any individual separate seer like an entity.
Okay, so you don't see that. And what else don't you see?
You don't have the experience of everything is one.
You don't see how this expression is true, that everything is one. So you see duality?
Yeah, still see it is separate.
You see it how?
I see that everything is separate.
How do you see it as separate? If you look around,
Because there is a label to everything and forms are different.
so this label, is it inherent in the seeing itself? Like if
It's
you
not, a label is not inherent in the seeing, but different forms and colors.
Yes, but form and color is not label? Is that not a label? You are labeling something as form or not form, space and object, you see? These are also labels. In your innocent seeing, if you call it pure perception or innocent seeing, what distinction is there? What about that which sees? You see that? That which sees, is that itself seen? So this is now we are in a strange point. You see? What that we consider ourselves to be the ego, that also we don't see. You see? And this which sees everything, that also we don't see. You see? So what is more true? Can we deny the one that sees? If you say that there is no seeing, would that seem true? Or there is no awareness, would that be true? Or would it be truer to conclude that I must be a person although I don't see it? What is true? There is awareness or there is person?
There is awareness.
So this is your
There
own
is seeing. I can only say there is seeing.
see.
And who is the owner of that? I think.
Yes, yes. But can you say that you are not seeing?
There is seeing. I don't know whether it's I or what.
How do
Some
you
perceptions
how
are
do
there.
you conclude that there is seeing? It's your direct experience. Nobody told you
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
You're directly, you see, so it's
Experience.
yours.
Mm.
You see, this you is who you do not know,
Yes.
but it is yours, you cannot deny.
I know it. That's what.
Yes. Yes, so you know it, so that you cannot deny. This you is which one we cannot yet
I
conclude,
know.
let's say. You see? Everyone's together in this so far?
Mm.
You see? So this, that even the conclusion that there is seeing or there is perception, you see, is something that you are directly reporting. It is not third party, nobody is telling you, or it is not just a thought, you see. And also you don't see it, you see, in the sense that the one that is seeing, the one that is aware of perception, that you cannot see. Tell me if I lost you somewhere.
No. Thank you.
So this unseen but undeniable self, unseen means no quality, no attribute, and yet undeniable because you are saying that I am seeing. It is I which is seeing. See? And when you are open, it is completely clear that this is how it is. Not conclusively like an intellectual conclusion, but to you, it is apparent. This is all that I want you to check. The only seeming struggle is to become open. So, if you want to do it like Papaji used to sometimes say, don't think for one moment, for one fraction of a second. Or you can say, don't bother with thoughts, let them come and go. The only seeming block or block, you see, is notion, is thoughts. You cannot own this with your mind. You cannot own it for the non-existent me. You see? To own it with the mind means what? Because the mind is just like a lawyer for the non-existent ego. You see? Then would be to ascribe selfhood to that which does not exist. You see? To say that the non-existent one is the self is not possible. So that's why the Master said the one who came to Satsang or felt like the one who's being brought to Satsang will be dissolved in Satsang, will not leave Satsang. And we take the cat example, many examples like that. So as long as it's still playing that way, that what's in this for me? What's in it for me in Satsang? Nothing. And I keep saying nothing, but the mind will make a mash of even that and keep saying, he's saying nothing, but actually I have hope. You see? There's something here for me. But it's not that. It is not for this me. It is freedom from this me.
Birthday boy.
Huh?
Birthday boy.
Freedom from this me. So if you had to sign a contract when you came into the satsang door today, which is that I hereby hand over all that I think I will get for me. Is it? Hand over all that I think I will get from me. Is it? With no expectation of even freedom. Is it? How many of you would sign it?
Who is the I?
The one who's asking who is the I.
My praise is that even when signing this contract is,
Something you'll get as a result of that.
that's the intention.
And good to see at least that trick. So, and because this idea is so persistent, it can seem like it needs to be hammered out of us. Life is hammering it out of us, and your own divine presence is hammering it out of you. So these constant reminders, these constant provocation, this constant invitation is so that this stubborn identity can be let go of. But if it becomes clear to you that naturally in this very instant as you are open, there is no identity, then you will realize what the Master said. That there is no distinction between openness, freedom, and truth. So we have to move away from thinking about what is happening to me to just tasting this openness. Without needing to make any progress report. It's not like, I tasted the openness. Actually, it is very nice. It's happened to me 5 times before. You see, like this. It's not about that. It's not about getting into that frame of reference at all. Just to remain empty. Like when Guruji says, take a dip in the river and don't come out. This is what it means. If there is a sense that I have to do it and I did it, this I can dissolve in that. Easy. But if it comes out with it, oh, that was good, easy, and this is what I must always do every morning at 5 a.m. or something, easy, then it is coming back out. Take a dip in yourselves. Full stop. How to take the dip in yourself? Just remain open, motionless, unborn. As much as we resist this, it all boils down to the same thing. I can explain to you this way, this way, this way, this way, any which way. It all boils down to the same thing. once you take a dip in this, let go of all that. It's just conceptual. All that I'm asking you for is surrender all those notions that you think are not just a thought. Every notion that you think is more than just a thought, throw it away. I remained open, felt lighter, life flowing, no confusion of choices. Went this way till almost night. All of a sudden, I yielded to some fears related to physical identity and self-image, and the spell started. I remained calm till it had to settle. Got up in the morning, wondering how I gave way to that spell. Now back to homework mode. Yes. What's gone is gone. Everything comes and goes like a dream. Good. When open to suffering, is suffering still possible? It depends on how we define suffering. In my definition, or how we use it in Satsang here, is that suffering equals resistance. Suffering is this, openness is this. So we are open to everything coming and going. But when we grasp at it, or pull at it, or push at it, that state itself is what we call suffering. You see? If we are calling some arising, like some pain, or some grief, or some joy, or whatever arising, you see, if we are labeling that as suffering, Then okay, then yes. Of course, suffering can arise while we are open. But if we are calling suffering that closeness itself, that push and pull itself, then then it's like saying, can the hand be closed and open? Which itself is a beautiful thing to contemplate. But speaking phenomenally, traditionally, it is the opposite in terms. So it depends on how we define suffering. If suffering itself, if the term itself meant closed, then the question would change to, can I be open and closed at the same time? Throw away what is more than a thought? Question mark. I don't understand yet. So what I mean is that if we consider we've been playing this game called It's Just a Thought, where we look at just these thoughts that are passing by, and when we feel like, no, this is truly representative of truth, truly representative of what is, then we expose that, and then we see that it's just a thought. So when we give meaning to a thought, when we believe a thought, what happens is that we take it to be a valid representation. So when we consider a notion to be representative of truths, then we buy into that notion, then we buy into a limitation, idea of the limited self. So to see that this notion is nothing but a thought, it's just an energy construct. It is not representing truth. Because no words, no concept can truly represent it. So we discard it from any truth value. We discard any truth value from it. That means to throw it away. This is the same as to remain in the unborn. To not give birth to the idea of me, which is the born. It says born and dies. This openness, this emptiness is beyond the tactics employs. You see? Behind tactics employs is the notion of me. So the mind itself might construct a tactic and say, okay, the mind will not go, you see, if I resist it, because that which I resist persists. So what I will do smartly is I realize that the mind is the tormentor, but because it won't go with my resistance, I will love it to death. You see, a very popular self-help tactic, but it doesn't work. You see, why? Because your core intent is to the death of the mind, and your ploy is to love it. You see, so it's like hugging someone so that they could die. It's like, can I hug you enough so that you can just go away? You see, so this duality, this discrepancy is already ingrained in us, and we cannot fool ourselves to truth. So to see that all my attempts to get me to truth don't succeed, because the truth is that there is no such me. And where is this truth available, that there is no such me? Right here and now. With no need to construct a path. No need to have any tactics. Right now the truth is complete. If you have a move left, then satsang continues. Right now the truth is complete. If you have a move like but or I know better, this is what works for me, then if you're still inventing this lie of me, then satsang can continue. Empty of these notions, right here and now, in this unborn, is the Absolute, is Shiva. But the minute you grasp at it, the minute you try to own it, you see, it becomes the mirage that you can keep chasing. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Sadguru Shri Ananta-Ji ki Jai.
Guru Kripa Kevalam.